every argument that a boomer ever tries to win, they just point at their house. I mean, they don't know anything. They have zero idea. They've read no books about anything. They're a very funny, they're the last really truly funny generation, I think, because everyone has becoming flattened, but they are just very funny and deeply selfish. I mean, it's, it's funny to watch them. And my friend's mother just like faked, she didn't go to his wedding. She like faked some injuries. She said she was attacked at attacked in a supermarket. It's blatantly untrue.
What?
It's blatantly untrue. She made up the story that she was like attacked in a supermarket parking lot. She just was like, I'm attacked and I can't go. And she just missed his wedding. She didn't go to his wedding.
Why?
They're crazy, these people. I don't know these boomers. I don't know why they do what they do, but it's just very funny. It's like,
so what if
one very funny thing was after my mother died, I swear to God, I was on the phone with my aunt, which is her sister. And I go, what do we think about a funeral, everything like that? Maybe Thursday. She goes, I know. She goes, we've got a boat thing.
Not really. Is her sister?
Yeah, she goes, we're going to go on a boat with some friends, but she goes, we could get it. Maybe we'll do it we figure it out next week. So, but that's why that's why I do love them. I don't hate, I love them because it's like, they're horrible, but they make me laugh so much. And I was able to, just fuse the stuff together to make it. And the millennials suck too. And there's other generations that are a problem, but they make me laugh, but they are terrible. They are really terrible. And that's what makes them
What's so funny
funny
is they're getting credit for it though, finally.
They're just, I remember growing up, all my friends' parents, they all spoke in like sayings.
Totally.
And none of it meant anything. And, they would demonize perfectly good jobs, like union jobs. And
yes.
Like, you want to be like that guy? You want to be like that guy? And they had these empty corporate hellscape jobs that all turned them into alcoholics and everything. But they were like, you want to be like that guy? And it was usually like an in-shape guy, like working construction. Like, you want to be a scumbag like him? Or do you want to sit in an office like me and cheat on your mother?
Did you go to college?
No, I went to a community college for 2 years and dropped out. I won a debate championship, gold medal in debate. And I just dropped out of college and I went into finance because I didn't like.
What'd your parents say? Your boomer parents?
They were disappointed. They were thinking I would fail.
They knew you well.
I mean, so the two options for a boomer kid, a millennial or whatever you want to call me, a Gen X or whatever, succeeding, which they would be happy about because they would claim total credit for it.
Yeah.
And then failing, and then they would go, well, you didn't listen to us. Of course you failed. And I think with me, they were very much like, he's going to be a big mess. And we're going to get to tell people all the time how you didn't listen to anything we said. And this is why. But then it ended up, it looked like it was going one way. It went the other way. So they're fine now. They're cool with it. But it's just, it was, they didn't expect it. They didn't expect it.
Would you
They said to me, my father's wife said to me, who I do like a lot, but she goes, how does someone like you who made every wrong decision in their life end up with a house like this? So, but that is the way that is the way they talk.
Maybe you made the right decisions. Does that occur to them?
Never. It's interesting, but that is kind of the way that they, the way they speak.
Because the results do sort of tell the story, right?
You would think, which is why I love,
Yes.
you would think, it's just a generation of people that don't want to stop.
Because they're afraid of what's coming. They know they'll be punished in the next life.
I don't even know. They seem to be very ambivalent about that. They seem to face death in kind of a very they don't seem to be. I'm kind of impressed.
They don't seem appropriately afraid.
Yeah, I'm somewhat impressed by them. Actually, they're very casual about it. I think because their main fears are discomfort. And I think if they're gone, there won't be any more discomfort. There's no more traffic.
What? So you're writing a book about the boomers?
Yeah. They fell for every corporate slogan. My father, who I love, but will cry at commercials. He would cry at the Budweiser Clydesdales and do the 9/11 thing. He loved the Budweiser frogs. He loved They loved commercials. Boomers adored commercials. They liked a good Folgers commercial with the family sitting together and they're drinking coffee. Boomers loved commercials. They thought that all of these things that corporations really cared about them, and they were very somewhat naive. And I think they're kind of like spinning out a little bit now because they've realized a little bit to some degree how wrong they were about everything. And it was now it's kind of becoming, apparent. But my aunt said to me during COVID, it made me laugh. She goes, we're on the phone. I think I do. They just made me laugh so much. She goes, I hope everybody gets this vaccine. And I said, yeah. She goes, I hope everyone gets this vaccine. I said, yeah. She goes, because I want to travel. And I worked my whole life. She goes, I've worked my whole life. And by the way, everyone's worked their whole life.
Of course.
It's the funniest thing to say. Everyone's worked their whole life. Like, what are you talking? Like, okay, 20 people didn't work. And they, they grew up with whatever. But like, she goes, everybody better get this vaccine because I want to travel. I want to go on cruises. And because I've worked my whole life. And I believe she's been retired for about 30 years.
with full dental.
Maybe 25 years.
Right, yeah.
But like, it is just it's very funny the way that they are, they're perfect for sure.
I once was talking to a New York Times reporter who was telling me what a racist I was.
Yeah.
And I said, first of all, I would tell you if I was a racist. I'm really not a racist. I'm actually a sexist.
Right.
And which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Sort of true. And I thought, that's a good line.
Yeah.
Didn't print it.
No, they won't print it.
If someone said that to me in an interview, I would print that.
Yeah, I participated once. I don't know I know some people in journalism, but I participated once in this thing where like there's a few journalists that like wanted to talk to a comedian because they were like, we want to start using more comedy in our pieces. And I was like, wait, what? And they were just these totally unfunny like people. It was just tough. I was like, guys, just write the fucking news. But they wanted like. What
did you tell them?
I just said, I don't know. I think people that are good at this stuff are good at it, and I can't tell you how to make something funny, because they were basically saying like, we think that our reach will grow dramatically if we're funny. And I go, it might grow dramatically if you reported facts, that might.
Did they laugh?
No. But I think if you're lounging around in a DC townhouse trying to figure out what problems that you need to go out and desperately solve, you have a deficit of purpose. And I think this idea gives them the sense that now we are back in World War II and there's good and there's evil. And this is the purpose. This is why we've all been on the planet, to confront the country with the most nuclear weapons of any other country over two regions of the two northern provinces in Ukraine, which if you Google image them, I mean, take it. I mean, truly. And I'll give him part of this country too. There's a lot of this country.
Wait, which parts?
A lot. There's parts of it that we don't need. I'll give him part. If Putin wants it, we'll give him parts of California.
North Jersey?
We'll give him some parts of that. We'll give it. I think we should actually, let's really fuck him. Let's give him upstate New York. Let's give him a lot of Michigan. Let's give him stuff where he goes, hey man, I'm good.
Could he fix Schenectady, do you think?
I don't know if anyone could. I was just in Schenectady and I like the people there, but I don't know if anyone could. I actually said on stage, it would be nice if Putin invaded this.
What kind of response did you get?
They all laugh. They're great. They're great comedy.
Yeah, they are.
They get it.
The solution is not working.
Yeah.
Is not actually having
in LA,
the intended effect.
A lot of the white people, no one has a job. Even the ones that have money, they sit around. They kind of have smoothies. They
what is that?
They float around. I don't know, but no one really works. They
I noticed
float
that.
around for cafes. They have like kind of fake meetings.
They take meetings all the time.
Talk to another person, and that's a meeting. And they go, what about this? And what do you think's going on? And they have coffee, and they go, this coffee is not as good as the last. And it's. No one seems to be working.
But where's all the money come from?
I don't know. I have no idea. The CCP? I don't know.
For real, though.
I don't know who's floating it. I mean, usually when I have a lazy friend, you go back in their family lineage, someone got a bag of money somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm sure maybe just rich people that aren't criminals, but a lot of them are guys. If you look it up, there's like a guy, it'll be like a guy who poisoned a river in Zambia and then is now... And it's like, that's why all these real estate shows are fake. They're all not true. They're all these, with these attractive women. They walk around and they find a guy who's a basketball player or a guy who's like an actor. None of them are even buying the houses, by the way. I know the people that work on these real estate shows, they really sell the houses to a lot of people that just come in speaking complete Mandarin. And I have a friend who's a real estate agent, and they come in, they speak complete Mandarin to a translator. He just points. He's in Beverly Hills and pointing. There you go. They stand outside, they look at the view. And they're the ones who are actually buying the houses, or Russian nationals, or oligarchs, or people from the United Arab Emirates, or people from Brazilian mining magnates, or people from India. It's not really a lot of domestic. buyers in LA, it's in New York, it's a ton of foreign nationals, and that's why these real estate shows just aren't true. If they were true, it would be a real estate agent greeting someone at the door and going, "This is a beautiful house. How did things go at The Hague? Are you okay?" Everything was good at The Hague? Great. We saw that. Take a look at the veranda. They have that would be the real show, but it's not the real show, I remember sitting at a table with like Jake Paul and a few of these guys, and Jake Paul's like, "Are you investing in Cum Rocket?" I said, "What is that?" And he's like, "Well, it's a coin, it's a shit coin, but it was going up." He's like, "I've made all this money." And I called my business manager like 2 a.m. in Miami, and I'm a sober guy, but I feel high. Because I'm calling my business manager at 2 a.m. going, "Should I invest in Cum Rocket?" And he goes, "I think so. I think probably." So this is how nuts everyone got.
Did you invest in Cum Rocket?
I didn't. I was at the end of the day, I pulled out, and I'm like, "Nah, let's just stick with the Bitcoin and Ethereum."
You pulled out of Cum Rocket.
I pulled out of Cum Rocket. I said, "You know what? This is too volatile."
Yeah.
But
you went with the withdrawal method.
I went with the withdrawal method of Cum Rocket. I said, we don't want it all over the place. But when people like Ann Applebaum write that Russia's a failed state, and we need to westernize it. This is in the Atlantic.
It's a failed state.
She's written these things, and this is a common belief.
Maybe a state you don't like. It's the opposite of a failed state. It's a coherent state.
Yeah, you can not like it. It's been around for 1,000 years. It's not I remember when it was my job to give shopping malls to Afghanistan.
Yes.
I remember that.
Oh, you do?
I remember when I was a senior year in high school, and everybody goes, "Here's what we're doing. We're going to Afghanistan and Iraq. We're going to democratize the Middle East." This was the project.
Yeah.
Now these psychopaths want to democratize Russia. Back then they were Republicans. Now they're calling themselves Democrats. It doesn't seem to matter. They float between the two parties. Bill Kristol's on MSNBC now all the time. And I remember, I'm old enough to remember that how did we leave Afghanistan 20 years later? Does it seem democratized? The Taliban's in power. We should have a 5-year moratorium on any conflicts after that. After it's 20 years and the Taliban goes back in power, it should be like, it's like if you have a party.
Rearmed by us?
Yeah. If you have a party at your house and it burns down, your parents should go, "You're done now." You're done. Right. In our new house, you don't have any parties. You got to really establish that you've grown and learned from this. That was crazy to me. So when all these people make these arguments, I go, it doesn't really make sense that we would be doing this again.
Do you feel that changing, like to the extent that you're with Brentwood Wine Moms now?
Yeah.
Are they less enthusiastic about the brave Ukrainian people?
They don't care.
They don't care.
No one cares. No one really cares. It's just fun to pretend to care. No one cares. No one, unless you're from the Ukraine or you live in the Ukraine, no one cares at all. It is not even a real thing. If it comes up at a dinner, people go, "Terrible, terrible, horrible." Do they have the sticky toffee pudding? No one. It's not real. It's not on our shore. It doesn't affect us. We don't fight. We just arm people. We send money. We don't care. It's the Israel-Gaza thing. It's not real. People get very upset, but none of these things affect us because we can watch them, but they're not impacting our daily lives. Now everything is corporate. I mean, every sushi restaurant looks like every steakhouse, and they all look like hedge funds. You know what I mean? Like, you go into every place and you're like,
what does a hedge fund look like?
Just kind of marble and like a neurology clinic, right? So everything, and I know you're big on architecture, so that's one of my things too, is it's like the sameness of everything, how hollow and corporate it is. It's designed to just, exist primarily on a screen. And, it's like, you lost a lot. That's the thing. People go, "Oh, who cares?" People, small businesses, like, no, but the country you live in is fundamentally different. You see different things.
Physically different. Why does nobody notice that?
Nobody notices. Nobody cares. People they're just being ushered into this new thing, and nobody's asking. Everything is the same 10 corporations. It's the same 20 restaurants. You go to any town and you have the football stadium, the baseball stadium. You have the two chain steakhouses everyone's heard of, a Cheesecake Factory, a mall, a bad area, some like historic place that no one goes, and a Marriott, a Hilton, a nice old hotel that's kind of broken down, but is kind of like charming, and it has a brunch on a Sunday, and then it's surrounded by 45 minutes to an hour of urban decay. That's every city in America outside of 10.
Where's the resistance? Like when I was a kid, there was a group called Earth First, which I made fun of because they were like liberals or whatever.
Right.
Now I sort of love them, but there's nothing like it left. And they would just go put sugar in the gas tank of bulldozers. We're trying to clear cut woods to build a development. And their point, they were kind of Kaczynskiites.
Well, corporations have done a great job of going, we love you. We like you. We actually think you're great. We think it's great. We're progressive. We everything you're into, we're into. Everything that, the internet says is good, we vibe with. We totally are. We're open to everything. We're going to do everything you want. If you want a black female CEO, you're going to get one. We're not stopping to sweatshops, but you're going to get a black female CEO. You might, we can get anything you want. We will do anything you want. You want a polyamorous orgy here at Chase? We'll do it. We're going to foreclose on everyone's house, but we'll do that. And they keep moving the goalpost around where you're kind of confused. You go, what exactly is happening? The tech people are now very much like, we're utopians, we're great, we're good, everything's good. We drink green juices, we ride bikes, we care about the environment, we care about you. And that's it. And, all the 14-year-olds are killing themselves because of our product, but we're good people. And there's something really scary about people that come to you. It's always and I'm just the type of guy where if somebody comes to me out of nowhere and goes, hi, I care about you. I love you and I care about you and I want you to have the best life ever. And I go, cool. What's this about? Because I know what's coming next.
Right. Which is rape.
Yeah. What's coming next is just get in this van. So I think we have a situation where the tech people are kind of saying, get in the van.
I hate this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's like a brilliant analysis.
Yeah, well,
really smart. I'm not inviting you into the van. That's a sincere praise. What's the worst you've ever bombed?
I did. Good question. I did. Used to do these fundraisers in Long Island. You would get booked, and they were very bad rooms for comedy that have these circular tables where people are eating dinner with each other.
Yeah.
And then you would be in the corner of the room with a microphone.
Ooh.
And they would bring you up. And a lot of times you'd be following a performer or somebody. This was a woman who was crying. Her daughter died of cancer. And she was a fighter and we love her and everyone's clapping. And then the guy gets up and goes, now we have a comedian. And I went up and I'm doing jokes about like frozen yogurt and stuff. And it just didn't, it was bad. It was bad because it was utter disinterest. There's bombing where people hate you and you can almost feed off the energy of hatred. And then there's utter disinterest. There's utter like, God, this was a bad idea and we're checked out. And the worst thing is knowing it was a bad idea. It was a terrible idea. I shouldn't be there and we shouldn't have done this.
What joke has offended people more than any other?
I have a bit about the Ukraine people don't like.
Really?
I do, yeah.
What do you say?
Well, I can't say it here because then no one will see me. But no, I'm kidding. It's what do I say? What do I say? I describe a scene where I say this guy Zelensky, I said, I don't like him because he's ripped, he's good looking, and he wants money. There's nothing worse than a good looking guy that he doesn't know where to get any money. And I go, he pops up in the middle of the Grammy Awards when you're just trying to watch wet ass pussy with your children.
Yeah.
And I said, you called them into the room and you bring out your pregnant 12-year-old and she's twerking in the living room and your other kid comes out and they're nonverbal and they're just in the back kind of swaying. And this guy from a country you've never heard of wants money. And I go, Vladimir Putin's maybe not a great guy, but so far he's asked me for $0.
I agree.
And some people did not like it.
They didn't like it?
Some people didn't like it. Some people like it, but it's fine. To me, it's fine. It's just funny, the idea of what a mess a lot of the people are in this country that we're asking for money.
I know.
And that makes me laugh. The idea that they're like, I'm just describing this crazy scene. And then they're like, wait, you know what I mean?
Your agent has never had moral qualms with anything you do.
My agent wouldn't know what a moral qualm was if you took out a dictionary and explained it to him. He's a good guy. He, would it be his favorite thing that I was in Russia? Perhaps not, but he wouldn't drop me.
Is there anything you could do that would make him drop you?
Sure. Absolutely. I think they drop you for all kinds of reasons, but I don't know. I would say the most dangerous thing for me to do that would get my agency to drop me would be to like assert my humanity.
I am not an animal. I am a man.
Yeah, that would be tough.
But how can you continue to run this country in the way that you are if you're the people who are running it and allow people to criticize you this precisely?
You have to make it financially beneficial. I mean, I think that's the whole thing, right? Like, they are going to co-opt the methods of distribution to a degree that, if we call them pedophiles, they'll make money from it.
That's wow, is that dark? That's like,
they're not going to get called pedophiles for free.
That's the darkest thing I've ever heard. So they're not going to shut down the speech. They're just going to monetize the attacks on themselves.
It seems to be a happy medium.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.